MoneywebNOW 5th birthday celebration.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks so much for taking out your time to come and celebrate with us. When Marge told me we are celebrating the 5th year of MoneywebNOW, I said no. It felt like it started yesterday, and then somebody else said, listen, it's been going on forever, because it's an interesting, part of Moneyweb. And I just want to quickly tell the story and how it was conceptualized. We had a morning show on Classic FM. Arabile Gamedi and Natasha Arendse hosted that. I thought it was a great show, and it was the only business show in the morning. And I always wanted a business show in the morning. So there was an issue with Classic FM, and we lost the show. And they moved over to Hot. But we had a session there in Niekerk, a strategic session, say, listen, how do we move an FM show within Moneyweb to another platform? And it was it was absolutely a team effort, and said, why don't we start a live show in the morning at 6:30? And then whenever you drive to work, you can just hit a play button and you can listen to a business show, as opposed to leaving at 7 o'clock and you have to listen to the same content over and over again on other stations. Of course, there's a market for that, but we wanted to capture the business market. And that's how it was conceptualized. And this was just before COVID.
It was January 2020.
And we started off and it flew. It still flies. And I think the big message here is this show also doesn't happen. There are many, many people involved. It's not only Simon. Eddie gets up. I don't even know if he sleeps ever. Nobuhle does a fantastic job. She joined us. Well, she came from Honcho, and she's absolutely a pillar of strength. And then you look at, the post-production from, Nicole and Serene and Tulani. So it's a massive team effort, and it's all coming together at 6:30 every morning. And then there's a podcast from 7:30 from the global headquarters in South Africa, Johannesburg, South Africa. Simon, it's been a hoot. Tell us how you have experienced it.
I like the morning. I like the 20 minutes. It's less of a commitment. It makes my life a lot easier. I do Hot sometimes, and Hot is hard because that's 5 guests, 8 minutes each. I have 3 guests, 6 minutes, man. It's like, I'm still buzzing from my coffee. And it's just huge fun. And it's to Rex's point. There is a monster team behind it. An important team member, no one knows him. My alarm every weekday morning for 5 years now goes off before 5 o'clock. To be clear, before 5 is still nighttime. It's not morning. My alarm goes off, but so does my wife's. She makes me coffee, and then she goes back to bed. Without that, there is no show. But it's the ability to get the salient points. And I think the key thing for me, every interview, at the end of the interview, I want to have learned something, and I want my listeners to have learned something. And that's what we've done. We have astounding guests. I mean, the quality of folks I can get hold of. I mean, it's Chantal, it's Nwabo, it's Matete and stuff. But I'm reaching into these giant financial institutions, getting smart people, and being able to ask them not anything I want, because there's, some things they're not experts on, but being able to get proper, thoughtful answers. It's an amazing privilege. And as I say, a huge team behind it. I'm the smiley face, but there is just a monster team without whom it doesn't happen.
Guests are critical, and it's a golden rule of radio. If your guests are of a high quality, the show is of a high quality. And you learn who to pick for what. And that is a skill, and I think the quality of the guests are excellent, and it just adds so much value. But I want to ask you, the show that goes out are always, well produced. It seems like it's calm, but sometimes it's not.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about give us a few of those little moments.
Well, okay, so trying to get hold of Leila Farid, Dr. Leila Farid, who happens to be the CEO of the JSC. She's on my show. We're going to be talking results. She's not answering her phone because she's on her Peloton doing a session. So mostly, I mean, it happens so infrequently. I'm spending mostly guests know. And I think it's because when you're in someone's calendar before 7 o'clock in the morning, they remember. If you're in a calendar at 11 o'clock or 2:30 or something, you're just another random part of the day. But that sort of 6:30, 6:45 part is the special thing. And it's happened. So, I mean, sometimes you've got bad quality or the line drops and then I just have to waffle. Sometimes it is a case of it's like we just can't get hold of this person. They've promised. The really fun part is sometimes you've messaged them beforehand and they said, yeah, we'll chat in 10. And then you phone in 10 and they gone back to sleep, I guess. And then, so one of the beauties of my shows, it's not a traditional radio show where I've got to get to the top of the hour to log off. We can run over, we can run under, although the one thing which Ed and I, like, we pretend it's not, like, there's a clock. My aim is to finish at 6:50 every single morning, and we start at 6:30 every single morning. The folks who I phone, my market commentators, will know their phone rings at 6:29, 30 seconds. It is a slick machine. My fear was always we would have 3 guests not pitch. That's never happened. And you know what? If I have to waffle for 6 minutes, easy.
Sometimes if you don't have a guest, those 6 minutes feel like a lifetime. One thing I omitted to say is while we were in this workshop, we had to conceptualize a way to get this podcast to people. We needed a distribution platform that's quick and easy, because the idea was this PBR in your car type of approach where you can listen to the podcast whenever you leave, and you're not going to have your PC there or go on your phone and log onto a website, a mobile website. So we thought, let's get an app. Let's get the MoneyWeb app, and that's what we're going to use to allow people to listen to it very, very easily. And that's why our app came from. And just a fun fact, there were 2 finalists in the business App of the Year competition that year when we launched it. It was the MoneyWeb app and the Swift app from Standard Bank. Shift app, and they had a development team of, 600 people. And we had 1, so we didn't win the title, but we'll gladly take second. So that's where the distribution platform came from.
They also spent 100 million.
We did not spend 100 million.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly the back end. Eddie has the back end, which is also quite complicated, and how we get it out. That is also a trick. And yes, there were hiccups here and there, but I think Eddie, he needs really a lot of acknowledgement for what he's doing and how smoothly this whole process works. It's nice to have professionals in the team to ensure that happens. You don't need to stress about it. If there are issues, you'll sort it out. So Ed, maybe give him a hand, yeah. You know, maybe Bushra can also jump in here. How do you conceptualize a show? How do you pick the topics and the guests? And what is your preparation process beforehand? So just give us an insight on how this all comes together.
So I'm going to start at the beginning and work backwards. I mean, and this perhaps is something perhaps I shouldn't admit too much to. But when I'm prepping for an interview, I do very, very little. I know the conversation. If I'm speaking to a CEO, I have read the results. If I'm speaking about a specialized area, whatever it might be, I've read all of that. But my number of questions I have in my little app is typically only 2. If I'm being fancy, maybe it's 3. And then I'm just trusting the guest and myself to be able to have a conversation. Part of it's the luxury if it's only 6 minutes. It's a different game if it's 15 or 30 or something. And I've done those at points in time. But it's responding to what's being said. And it's also, you know, I mean, I've been in this industry for 20 plus years one way or another, 25 plus years one way or another. And it's that ability to delve into, I have a memory of an elephant. I can go back and to remember things that I've, interviews and stuff that I've had whenever it might have been. I for all of my guests, I know what you have said on this company before. And it's interesting to see the changes. And those changes aren't because my guests are inconsistent. The changes are because the reality changes. But for me, it goes back to, I want everyone who listens to the show in the morning to leave that show smarter. So, in results, I mean, some companies are just boring and there's nothing there that's worth actually talking around. There's just things that are coming. For example, there's a lady from PwC I just said to Niekerk, the new laws coming in around disclosure of salaries, which in the olden days was just the CEO's salary. And the old folks will remember in 2004 when that came in, the CEOs all said, oh no, we can't disclose our salary because we'll get kidnapped and murdered and stuff like that. Now, they might have been kidnapped and murdered, but it wasn't because of their disclosure. It's because we live in South Africa. But it's that story there is, and how remuneration committees are now moving from talking around the executive's remuneration to what is the lowest paid remuneration, and that shift that's happening at board levels. I just think it's absolutely fascinating. And I just work on the assumption that I've got a curious mind, and stuff that interests me, I touch wood, interests other people too, because there's fascinating stuff happening out there in this world. And of course, financial markets is the industry that creates more data points per day than probably every other industry out there. Sport would be second, but it is such a distant second. So there's just always so much. I mean, sometimes it's a challenge. Sometimes I'm cautiously missing the Buchle at 4:00. Are we missing a third? Although I will say, I never send that message unless I have a backup plan just in case.
But anyway, I'm not going to stand between you and breakfast. And listen, thank you so much for coming out. This is, for us, it's pretty special. And Stan, look, thank you for your support. And let's have a nice breakfast. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you all.
Business, finance and investment news. Moneyweb Now with Simon Brown. Daily podcast available from 7 a.m. on moneyweb.co.za.